because you would wear it and then the next person would wear it, so they don't really last. But I was fortunate enough to find this piece in it as an example of what a teenager would wear. So teenagers during the 40s, for the most part, had similar looks to their adult counterparts. The hair they would be already trying some of the more adult sculpted hairstyles. The clothes, the dress was very mimicked that of what, and the same thing would go for boys. The boys' attire would just sort of mimic what the male adult attire would be. So button-down shirts, slacks. For the girls, it's just a different size cut, but the dress and style are similar to what a day dress would be for an adult woman. As mentioned earlier, younger girls would have kids. Today Katie has on some green Converse to match the little green, which is hidden by her hair, the little green handkerchief that she has tucked as part of her dress. All right, thank you. And next we have Richard, who is sporting a formal men's look for the 40s. Guys, I hate to break this to you, but men's fashion hasn't changed quite as much as ladies. Really, our fashion changes a lot almost every decade. Male fashion stays pretty similar. One thing about the 40s, though, would be very high-waisted pants and very short ties. So, sporting the short tie.
I like my tie.
Yeah, right. It's hard to wear the short tie, but you had really high-waisted pants, so you didn't necessarily need the longer tie. A couple of things did impact men and women's fashion during the 40s. At the beginning of the decade, before the war starts, you have clothes both for men and women that are very similar to the 1930s silhouette. So the 1930s silhouette for a woman has a much longer hemline that would sometimes go to the midpoint, or if not lower, to the ankle. For men, you had a very wide leg pant, a hemmed pant, and you would have a double-breasted jacket. During the war, though, the need for fabric for our troops impacted the fashion. So for men, I'm going to say this, but it's not the skinny leg that we know today. So for men, the pants during the war years, they wanted to save every scrap of fabric. So it was more of a skinny leg, which when we look at it today on vintage clothes, it still looks like a wide leg pant to us. But it was skinny for them. For women, the hemlines came up. So what I'm wearing today would represent the hemline for a wartime look. The fabric for women's clothes also stayed closer to the hips for the same reason. And you didn't have a lot of embellishments or a lot of flare, though I have a little bit of flare with a little bit of extra fabric and some beading, but I would be wearing what would be more of a evening attire for the 40s. After the war, though, it was right back to using fabric as much as anyone wanted to desire. So you see, that's where you start to get the evolution of the 1950s dress, where you see lots and lots of full skirts. That starts in the 40s after the war. Christian Dior started this look, and it is called the new look. Though still a little bit of a, I hate to be negative on Christian Dior, but it was actually his boss started the concept for this look, and it just, the war happened, so Christian kind of, Dior dug it, like I know him, Christian. He dug it kind of back out for the war and represented it in what we define as the new look, which for ladies is kind of got still the broad shoulders, cinched at the waist, but the skirt has a lot of volume and lots of fabric. And for men, it went back to like a wider leg pant and could have that hem at the pant. So Richard also has on, going back to his fashion, I can't forget his fantastic shoes, which were a two-tone Oxford. Though at this time there was quite a variety in men's shoes. So a more casual look for men would be to sport a penny loafer. Knit sweaters were very in style, though we could not manage one in today's heat. It's hard to manage this, which actually is a reproduction. This is a linen pinstripe suit, which would have been appropriate for the 1940s. And then he has on his fedora style hat, which we actually purchased locally at Bat Sacks downtown. Thank you. I think that's a little bit. Going a little bit more into men's fashion, the casual look for men's fashion at the time would have been a Hawaiian shirt. Hawaiian shirts were all the rage. Guys are like, yeah, Hawaiian shirts. I think I see a few today. So you are historically accurate. Woo, thank you so much. Yes, a Hawaiian shirt stayed in fashion until the 1950s, and they were replaced by bowling shirts. That became all the rage for gentlemen. Guys, I won't leave you out as far as hairstyles. I didn't point this out, but Richard, I have to be honest, he's my fiance. So we're getting married, so he did not go clean shaven for this event because the wedding's in a month. But the style at the time was more of a clean shaven look for gentlemen in the 40s, and your hair would have been short and sort of slick back. Hats, as I said, were super popular. The fedora is the most well known. That sort of lingered into the 50s, but it was because of Frank Sinatra that it lingered to the 50s, because they were going out of style other than Frank. So that is all of our models. At this point, I can take any questions.